Hi, I'm Scrub Ninja, and this is my guide to Sephirot Extreme. Like the normal version, Sephirot EX can be broken down into 3 phases. The first phase begins almost immediately with a cleave, so tanks should position Sephirot facing away from the party to avoid unnecessary damage. After this tank cleave, Sephirot will do 2 raid-wide AoEs called Sephirot that will happen multiple times throughout this phase, so healers should be prepared to heal through this as necessary. Immediately after the AoEs comes another tank cleave before Sephirot spawns 4 Ein Sof orbs around the room. These orbs slowly spread in size over time, covering half of the arena. As such, the tank should pull Sephirot to the middle of the open half of the arena against the wall. As they are doing this, 2 AoE markers will appear. One on a healer and the other on a DPS. These AoEs, called Fiendish Rage, will cause Sephirot to jump, hurting everyone in the AoE marker for split damage based on the number of players. This will also put a physical vulnerability up on all party members hit, so the main tank should avoid this. Our party handles this by having the 4 DPS stand on the left side of Sephirot, while both healers and the off-tank stand on the right. After Fiendish Rage, Sephirot will put out 2 more Sephirot AoEs, before winding up for a Tank Buster. This Tank Buster has no cast bar, however you can see it coming by watching Sephirot's animation. He will lift one of his arms, and when his hand flashes, you will know that the damage is incoming. Healers should be ready to heal the tank immediately, as there is a cleave directly after. After the Tank Buster, Sephirot will spawn 1 more Ein Sof orb that the party should be aware of. He will also cast 1 more Sephirot AoE before facing a random party member and marking the party with 5 small green AoEs and 1 large purple AoE. These AoEs should not be stacked or they will kill you. As these AoEs explode, Sephirot will also do a 180-degree cleave in front of him, most likely killing any party member's hit and putting a vulnerability up stack on anyone lucky enough to survive. The way we deal with this is by stacking on the main tank before these AoEs go out, baiting the direction that Sephirot faces towards the wall. This leaves the bulk of the arena safe from Sephirot's cleave. After we bait this cleave, we have the player marked with a large purple AoE run to the center of the room, as it is the largest marker and this is the easiest place we found to spread out around. We have also assigned the rest of the party with pre-positioned spots to run to, assuming they are not marked by the purple. Players should, however, be ready to adapt depending on where the Ein Sof orb has spawned. After these AoEs explode, the tank should reposition Sephirot to the center of the room. While he's doing this, 2 more Sephirot AoEs will go out, followed by another Tank Buster. Once this Tank Buster has gone out, the phase will repeat itself from the 4 Ein Sof orbs. This will happen until you push Sephirot into the next phase at 64%. Assuming your DPS is good, you should only see 2 of these rotations. At 64%, Sephirot will become untargetable and move to the northern side of the arena. This will mark the beginning of Phase 2. Phase 2 consists of 14 adds, 2 large Kochma adds, which will put a stacking magic vulnerability up debuff on their main target, and 12 small Bina adds. These adds must be DPS down in a controlled but timely manner. The longer it takes for you to kill these adds, the more Sephirot's limit break gauge will fill, and the higher this gauge fills, the more damage Sephirot's ultimate ability will do. At the beginning of this phase, 1 large Kochma add will spawn to the south that should be picked up by 1 tank, along with 3 small Bina adds to the east that should be picked up by the other tank. This is because, while the large Kochma add deals only physical damage, the small Bina adds deal magic damage, which will one-shot anyone with a magic vulnerability up debuff. As such, while you progress through this phase, 1 tank should always be tanking the large adds, while the other should always be tanking the small adds. The Kochma tank should avoid using AoE aggro generating attacks during this phase, as accidentally pulling a Bina will probably result in death. As you kill these adds, they will do AoE raid-wide damage and cause the next wave to spawn. The small Bina adds will do 2,000 damage upon death, while the large Kochma adds will deal 10,000 damage upon death. To make this AoE damage more manageable for the healers, DPS should focus certain groups down at a time. Our group found that the most manageable way was to kill 3 small Bina adds, then the first large Kachma ad, then the next group of Binas, followed by the second large Kachma ad, and finally the last 6 Binas in order of spawn. If the ads are not killed in time, the next waves will begin to spawn on a set timer. The order of spawn is 1 Kachma to the south and 3 Binas to the east, then 3 more Binas to the south, followed by another Kachma to the north and 3 more Binas to the west, and finally 3 more Binas in the center of the arena. Once you have killed all ads, Sephirot will go into a very long animation where he falls off the edge of the arena and comes back much larger. Healers should take this time to regen mana and shield the party for Sephirot's incoming ultimate ability. After Sephirot returns to the arena, this time much larger, he will cast his ultimate. This ability deals damage based on Sephirot's limit gauge and marks the beginning of Phase 3. Phase 3 begins with an ability called Yisod. This ability will snapshot players' positions and then cause pillars to protrude from the ground, dealing damage and giving a damage down debuff to anyone unlucky enough to be hit. You can avoid these pillars by waiting until you see a large green pulse cover the arena. This signifies that your position has been snapshotted, after which players should move away from their current position. We found the easiest way to deal with this mechanic was to stack at the front of Sephirot's hitbox to bait all the pillars in a set location. Then, when the green pulse happened, players would all move away together. After Yisod, Sephirot will put a random debuff on each party member. 4 members will be marked with Force Against Magic, and 4 members will be marked with Force Against Might. Force Against Magic is a green debuff that will give the affected player a major boost to magical defense, while also lowering physical defense. Force Against Might is a yellow debuff, which will give a major boost to physical defense while lowering magic defense. It is important for players to check which debuff they have, as they are important for mechanics to come. After players have been given these debuffs, Sephirot will prepare to cast an ability called Life Force. Life Force is a room-wide AoE that will hit half the room with physical damage and half the room with magical damage. During this time, each of Sephirot's hands will spawn an orb of a different color. These orbs will tell you which side of the room will be hit by which type of damage. The yellow orb means that half of the room will be hit by physical damage, while the green orb means that that half will be hit by magical damage. As such, players with the green Force Against Magic debuff should stand on the side of the arena with the green orb, while the players marked with the yellow Force Against Might debuff should stand on the half of the arena with the yellow orb. After Life Force, 2 towers will spawn along with 4 more orbs that will gain spread around the arena, leaving very small safe spots. Players marked with the yellow debuff should make sure that at least 1 person is standing in each tower as they go off. If someone is not in a tower, it will cause a room-wide AoE, instantly killing any members marked with Force Against Magic and giving the entire party a vulnerability debuff. After the towers have gone off, players with the yellow debuff should find a safe spot from the orbs away from the north side of the arena, and players marked with the green debuff should move all the way north, inside of Sephirot's hitbox. While the northern side of the arena will always be safe, players with Force Against Might will have to look at where the orbs intersect and stand as close to the edge of the arena as possible without falling off. While the orbs are spreading, each player marked with Force Against Might will have a tether spawn on them, which must be picked up by players marked with Force Against Magic. If it is not picked up in time, then the subsequent damage dealt by the tethers will one-shot any player marked with Force Against Might. With our positioning, however, it is very easy for the players marked with Force Against Magic to pick these tethers up as they originate from Sephirot's chest, and can simply be walked through to take the tethers onto themselves. After the orbs disappear, 2 more towers will spawn, which should be dealt with the same way as the first, followed by another Life Force AoE. Don't forget to watch your debuff and dodge accordingly. Once you have dealt with Life Force, 1 healer and 1 DPS will be marked for Earthshakers. This mark will cause a line AoE, which will deal damage based on the distance you are from Sephirot to the player marked and anyone caught in the line between them and Sephirot's chest. As such, the marked healer should move away from Sephirot and to one side of the arena, while the marked DPS should move to the opposite side. This allows unmarked players to safely stand in the center of the arena or to the east and west edges of Sephirot's hitbox. While the damage from Earthshakers happens, another Yesod will happen, which players will need to deal with while still making sure to avoid taking unnecessary damage from the line caused by Earthshakers. After this, Sephirot's chest will begin glowing, signifying that Sephirot is casting an ability called Da'at. This ability will hit the main tank hard before moving to random party members, dealing damage in a small AoE around them. As such, players should be spread apart from each other, and the main tank should have a cooldown ready. After Da'at, 2 more towers will spawn. Because the debuff Force Against Might or Magic has worn off of players, each tank will need to stand in a tower and pop cooldowns for the heavy damage they do as they go off. Once these towers have been dealt with, Sephirot will cast Life Force yet again. This time, however, it does not matter which side you stand on. Healers will merely need to shield and heal through the damage, as you no longer have increased or decreased vulnerability to either side. Immediately after Life Force, a blue AoE will spawn inside of Sephirot's hitbox, along with 2 more expanding orbs. This AoE is the first of 3 that will knock players back in whichever direction they are from the AoE, or one-shot anyone unlucky enough to be standing inside the AoE as it goes off. As such, players will need to position themselves in such a way that they will not get knocked off the edge or into an orb. The first of these knockbacks also comes at the same time as a Yesod. To deal with this, players should stand inside of the blue AoE until the green pulse happens, at which point everyone should move out to the southeast side of the AoE, avoiding the pillars and getting knocked back. Players should then move to the center of the room for the second knockback, and then to the southwest side of the third and final knockback. Although the orbs spawn in 2 different patterns, these directions will always be safe to get knocked back into. After this, 2 more Earthshakers will appear, followed by another Da'at. The only difference between this and the last time you dealt with these mechanics is that Yesod will not happen with Earthshakers, but instead come with Da'at. So players should be aware when they are dodging that they do not accidentally clip other party members should Da'at choose them. After Da'at, 2 more tank towers will spawn, which must be dealt with accordingly, followed by another Life Force AoE. Once the damage of Life Force has gone out, players will need to stack on the north side of the arena, inside of Sephirot's hitbox. This is because Sephirot will knock the entire party south, and if you are not far enough north, you will get knocked off the edge. As the party is knocked back, 5 adds will spawn. A Storm of Words to the south, 2 Binas to the east, and 2 Binas to the west. The Storm of Words must be killed first, as it casts an ability called Revelation, which, if allowed to cast, will cause the storm to explode, knocking players back and making it impossible to do a later mechanic. When Storm of Words is dead, it will drop a tornado that players can ignore for now. Once players have dealt with this add, they will also need to kill the Binas. If they are left alive too long, then they will explode, wiping the raid. While you are dealing with these adds, the party must remain aware, as there are mechanics to be dealt with at the same time. First, Sephirot will cast Life Force, followed by 2 tank towers and Yesod. Then, he will cast another Life Force, followed again by Yesod, and then, after a short time, 1 more Life Force. We found the easiest way to deal with this was to melee LB the Storm of Words, allowing the other DPS to focus on Sephirot and the Binas. We would then wait to kill the Binas until the second Life Force had gone out, as the damage from the Binas dying, plus the damage from Life Force, could be enough to wipe the raid. After the third and final Life Force AoE, Sephirot will slam his arm down on the west side of the arena and prepare to swipe across the battlefield. To avoid being knocked off into the depths below, players should stack inside the tornado dropped by the Storm of Words. This will knock you into the air just in time to avoid Sephirot's sweeping arm. Once you land, Sephirot will repeat his Phase 3 mechanics until you either kill him or you reach the 11-minute mark. If you don't kill him before this time, he will slam his arm down once more, but this time there will be no tornado to save you and he will wipe the raid. So have fun and good luck as you try and take down Sephirot Extreme.